Welcome to the session. Today we have with us Satabdi Madam, Alok Kumar Sir and Sridhar Sir. Alok Kumar Sir is presently serving in Jharkhand and has recently qualified with rank 41. We have Satabdi Majumdar Madam. She also recently qualified with rank AIR rank 80 in 2019. And we have with us Sridhar Sir, who is serving in the Indian Revenue Services and qualified recently with rank 477. Thank you all of you for being a part of this session. All of you a very good evening. We all know that prelims is a pain point for many of the students, and herein we want to hear it from your experience, that how did you actually juggle with prelims, what strategies did you adopt, and how did you overcome all the hurdles there. So all of you, a very great thank you for being a part of this session. Welcome. We will first conduct the session and then we would leave the session open for your doubts. Whatever issues that you have, please be open, free, and ask freely about your issues. In the meanwhile, Sridhar sir, you can start off the session with your experience about the journey.
Thank you, Dimple ma'am. First of all, it's very hard journey to prepare for prelims because syllabus is so vast and you have to study each and everything. You have to update everything and every day, and that is a little bit difficult considering the vastness of the syllabus. But still, as UPSC has given some defined syllabus, still we can tackle with that. So my experience was that I have given all the prelims, so I have much experience with the prelims, and it's along with knowledge. It's about your aptitude and your what we can say your aptitude, particularly in examination, and risk-taking behavior in the examination, because most of the candidate will study the same material. The serious candidate will study the same material, same whatever available in the market, but they will be able to solve around 40 to 50 questions, that much with the confidence. Okay, they will be aware about the answer. Okay, this can be the answer. But after that, it becomes more or less an intelligent case, and for that you have to apply your knowledge very intelligently. Yes. So rather than speaking in general terms, I will start with the topics. I have been assigned history and science, science and tech, to discuss. So first of all, we will start with history. So basically, you must have seen questions of UPSC prelims that people argue and complain that the questions are not coming from Spectrum or whatever material they are referring. They will not come from Spectrum or any other, or you may take it NCERT or Tamil Nadu NCERT. It will be beyond your whatever you have read. UPSC will not allow you to master their structure. Never, never. In prelims, in mains, and interview, in all stages, they first of all break your your preparedness in the first moment whenever you enter into the hall. The paper will be like that. It will be lengthy, a lot of lengthy. Whatever you have practiced, it will be in comfortable environment. But in that 2 hours, it will be first of all, it is also psychological test also, because they are giving a lengthy paper to test your that determination to solve or to go beyond 85 questions. And that is very much important, that you should solve beyond 87 is the, I am giving it minimum. You have to go beyond 90, and the people who have cleared the prelims have gone beyond by 90. And if I talk about my experience, I always gone beyond 95, because once you know ki aapka answer, if you are solving 5 questions, there are chances that you, even if you get 2 questions right, you are in a positive way. So first of all, we will talk about history, what are the problems I faced during the preparation of history, and then science. Regarding history, basic material, you must be following all that basic material, that it's for ancient India, we read Sharma, and from art and culture, many people read Nitin Singhania and NCERT, 11th NCERT. For medieval, people also read NCERT. And for modern India, mostly everyone is reading Spectrum, which is a notes of Bipin Chandra, Struggle for Independence. So after doing this, you have to go for intelligent guess, because around 15 to 20 questions will be of history, encompassing all ancient, medieval, modern, and art and culture. So if I discuss about first art and culture, so whatever material you are referring, just refer that material only. Don't go for any addition. People may feel that यार इससे मेरे questions हो ही नहीं रहे, या यूपीएससी इससे कुछ आगे पूछ रहा है, या आपको लास्ट ईयर जब पेपर हो जाता है तब आता है कि हाँ इस बुक से ये पूछा था, तो उस एक क्वेश्चन के लिए आपको वो बुक पढ़ने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है। नहीं तो क्या होगा, आप अभी स्पेक्ट्रम पढ़ लिया, अभी सम पीपल विल गो फॉर क्लासिक टू पार्टीशन, सम विल गो फॉर सुमित सर का, तो अल्टीमेटली आपके पास कुछ कंक्रीट नॉलेज नहीं रहेगा। दैट इज वेरी एसेंशियल फॉर एलिमिनेशन ऑफ ऑप्शंस। Ultimately, you have to eliminate the options, you have to do intelligent guess, you have to apply all the experiences you have gained throughout your life during that 2 hours. That is my experiences, and that may be a silly experiences also. So I think there was one question 2 or 3 years back, there was a question on beach, I think something beach and some related to that, and that was a question they have asked from one KitKat ad and essay. So you have to aware about these things, and I will share some questions जिसमें कि कैसे जो आपका जनरल अवेयरनेस होता है उसके ऊपर क्वेश्चन पूछे जाते हैं, हाउ यू हैव टू टैकल देम। तो दिस इज अबाउट हिस्ट्री। तो अगर मैं आपको हिस्ट्री के बारे में और डिटेल, अगर एंशिएंट आर्ट एंड कल्चर के बारे में हम डिस्कस करते हैं, तो बेसिकली आपको पढ़ाई कैसे करनी है। तो हमने जैसे बताया, आपको अगर 15 या 20 क्वेश्चन आ रहे हैं, उसमें से 7 या 8 क्वेश्चन, 6 या 7 मानूंगा मैं, जो आपको डायरेक्टली सिलेबस से आ जाएंगे कि हाँ ये आंसर मैंने पढ़ा है या स्पेक्ट्रम में देखा है ऐसी चीज कोई। तो इसके बाद में जो क्वेश्चंस आउट ऑफ रैंडमली आ जाएंगे, पर्टिकुलर बुद्धिज्म, जैनिज्म, फिर अभी लास्ट ईयर रखुबाई करके फ्रीडम फाइटर के ऊपर एक क्वेश्चन था, किसी ने भी नहीं पढ़ा। अगर आप सीरियस कैंडिडेट हो और अगर आपने नहीं पढ़ा है, तो वो किसी ने भी नहीं पढ़ा है। तो आपको इतना इंश्योर करना है कि जो बेसिक 7 या 8 क्वेश्चंस आ रहे हैं वो आपके 100% सही होने चाहिए, उसमें एक भी गलती नहीं होनी चाहिए। उसके बाद आपका बोनस है, बोनस इन द सेंस उसमें अगर 15-16 है, तो अगर बाद में अगर 7 क्वेश्चन बचते हैं, तो उसमें से 3 या 4 क्वेश्चन भी आप सही किए, that is fine for you. Many times we forget the thing कि we have read in art and culture, we read dance, music, then architecture from across the India. Then we get confused कि the future of this particular dance may be confused with other future. Like if you talk about Odissi dance, then you may confuse with the Andhra Pradesh dance. So to remove that, you have to just go through all particular dances and try to visualize these dances, try to see videos of these dances. So things will become concrete in your mind. Along with that, this is about dances. Then music, similarly music, there are 2 gharanas, particularly 2 streams. One is Hindustani stream and one is Karnataki stream. Particularly Hindustani stream is dominant in North India, Karnataka is in South India. Then you have to see the structure, how they are evolving, what are the history behind their evolution, what are the political factors behind their evolution. This art and culture develops in a situation when there is a peace and prosperity in the society. The Kathak was developed in the Awadh because Awadh was a stabilized princely state. But that does not develop. You may not find classical dances from Maratha kingdom. There may be the dances or the art and culture form will be a folk art. You may see valor form of poetry like Povada. You may see Shahiri, which is also a local form of poetry. So you have to understand all these things, and through understanding these things, you will be able to go closer to the answer. You may not know 100% answer during your examination, and that happen. You may, if some of are veterans in that, you may see that there are many classes will come with the answers. There are at least 5 to 10 questions where everyone will be giving a different answer. So you see the people who are sitting in their comfort zone, they are also having different answers for the same question. So you can imagine the level of complexity or the level of thought process UPSC is giving behind the framing that questions. So okay, but If you are intelligent enough, you can go closer to the your answer, and that should be your aim. So ultimately you have to make 65 answers right. That is the final. वो कैसे भी करो, मतलब you do it in a whatever way, that it be your knowledge, intelligent guess or silly guess. ठीक है. So if you talk about, I will give one example of painting. Okay, painting कैसे develop होती है. Painting initially you may have seen the Bhimbetka cave. It was a rock painting. Okay, simple color, natural color they were using. Simple structure था, just what do you abstract form of painting, just lines खींच रहे हैं and all the things. उसके बाद में keep on developing. Then उसके बाद में आता है, I will come directly to the Mughal painting just to elaborate the thing. So see, Mughal में how the thing started. First of all, they came from Central Asia or from Sultanate. They came from Turkey. So initially, all the themes were related to nature because the environment was different. They came from Central Asia. India is a different geographic zone. So they were painting that tulips and all the things were there. After that, they got little bit stabilized. Then stabilization में there was a war with the Rajputs and other local leaders. Then a theme of battle came into paintings. Okay, तो उसमें color भी देखिए, color जो available है, they natural color or whatever little bit जो था. उसके बाद में they got revenue from India, land revenue. Then they got more prosperity, and during the Shah Jahan period, then there was started what we can the portrait painting. Portrait painting कब करते हैं? When you want glorification of yourself, okay, you want to be remembered, then वो portrait painting चालू किया. Then उसमें color का difference आया. Color का कैसे difference आया? Then how the colors started changing? Golden color, use of golden color. What is the what it symbolizes? It symbolizes prosperity. जब golden color आया, मतलब उनके पास उतने, they have that much revenue to invest on golds and gold painting. ठीक है. उसके बाद में then scenario start changing. Then ultimately I come to the Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb was an extremist in religious way, so he abandoned all paintings. तो कहाँ भी, where will they go? Where painter will go? They started going in regional power center. ठीक है. अभी when they started going to regional power center, तो वहां पे क्या हुआ? अभी वहां पे इतनी प्रॉस्पेरिटी नहीं है, उतने थीम्स नहीं है. थीम्स कैसे? यहाँ पे थीम्स मैंने बताया, जब वो when they were fighting a battle के pictures आने हुए. When they were more close to the nature, when they were having that sense of missing of their own land, they were as a nature. They were, so the Shalimar Bagh and or the another Bagh was created in Jammu Kashmir. The paintings were more naturalistic at that time. उसके बाद में आता है जैसे when the painters started going to a regional centers, then वहां पे themes got changed. Theme कैसे? Because the regional power centers were not that much stabilized or that much power में नहीं थी, aspirations भी नहीं थे. Aspirations in the sense अभी क्या करना है, there was no vision. Then वहां पे क्या होता है? Then painters or artists develop a vision. Vision कहाँ से develop होती है? Either they go past or either they imagine the things. Like जैसे if you take the example of our Raja Ram Mohan Roy or the early freedom fighters, they developed a vision की independent India. Similarly वहां पे themes कौन से थे? Religious themes, historical ये आ गया, historical themes become more dominant. Dimple ma'am, do you want to say something?
Yes. So basically, if I would sum up, the thing is 1, 2, 3 points that Sridhar sir has been emphasizing upon is one is the risk-taking ability that we started with, like attempting at least 85 to 90 questions. Once you have that ability, you will not, there are chances of, by the trick, by the elimination, by silly guesses, by studied guesses, you have a fair chance of qualifying the prelims. That is one thing. Do not study any subject in silos. Like if you're studying history, do not actually forget the political, social, economic background. If you try to link these things, then you have a fair chance of answering the question in a right manner. Is this what we have been trying to emphasize upon?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
So I was just elaborating it more in a more elaborating it. So the thing is, then we talked about Aurangzeb and then local painting started. Then फिर वहाँ पे local painting आएगा. Then Himachal pahadi painting, Himachal painting, Rajputana painting. Then their local themes Then along with that, then Abhi, when you don't have too many things, then you go into the past. Then they started of Radha Krishna. Then there's a Jaydev written one about Krishna. Then that theme become positive. Then वो color कौन से? Then color Krishna with that peacock color. Then that peacock color or that bluish color become dominant. So you have to study all these things in this way. So when you study and when you analyze while studying, you have to apply your mind. Ki agar if you are reading about Bentinck, okay, and the question comes about Bentinck, then you must be having that idea that Bentinck was a reformist. If something the question is about talking about some reforms, then you should be aware that Bentinck was a reformist, so you can then guesses on the that options. And if it is about Curzon, then you can say he was an extremist, he was an expansionist. Then the questions are option deke you have to realize ki okay, this cannot be related to Curzon. Okay, I think Shatabdi and Alok has joined again, so I will pass the baton to them. So I will continue this thing after they complete the thing.
Yes, thank you so much. There is some very nice trick that you've been sharing with respect to history. We will get back to you on science and technology also. Some tricks about science and technology as well, because that's a pain point that many students do face. Thank you so much. Yes, Alok sir would like to hear it from you as well. Something, please share your experience as well.
I'm Alok Kumar Dubey. I've secured All India rank 41 in CSC 2018. Currently, I'm in Jharkhand, Kaira. So, as per the theme of the lecture, we have been divided into topics like areas, and then we will be focusing what are our problems, challenges in that particular topics or subjects, and how we overcome those challenges, and how we are able to qualify prelims, or what are the tricks basically. So, for me, economics. What are the problem areas in economics, what challenges I faced in economics, and how I overcome those challenges. So firstly, I will be talking about what are the pain points in economics. So basically, if you see, economics is a vast subject and it is also interlinked with the current affairs. Sometime one question will be asked from the static and the other will be from the current affairs. So the first thing is that most of the people get confused in selecting the resources, like whether you have to study NCERT, whether you have to study advanced books. So this is also one of the very important thing. You have to first understand what are the resources for any particular subject, and then how you have to study that. So, and then after choosing your result, like for economics, NCERT is very important. Once you study NCERT, then you will get at least some clarity about what are this topics and what are the keywords that are being used. So, and apart from that, how we have to interlink the static part and dynamic part. That becomes very important, because if you see the weightage of the economics in the paper, it is at least 8 to 10 questions will be asked from that particular area, combining with static part and then dynamic part. So small terms need very clarity about like what is a CPI, what is WPI, what is stagflation, what is inflation, because these are the terms which are used very frequently and the question will be coming from that areas only. Because if you are confused, then you are going to do mistake in this prelims, because they tweak these things and then they will ask questions. If you have very concept clarity about these small terms, then I'm pretty much sure you are going to attend the question in the right manner. So these are the things. And then what are like some topics which are very important and which needs a thorough analysis on that, like how money market works, and then how questions are being asked from that. It is not like very technical, but if you are having the grip on that area, then you can interlink the static part as well as the dynamic part. So that also becomes very important. And then resource related, I would say that apart from the NCERT, if you are studying one resource, which can be anything, any standard book of economics or any other thing which you find it good and which you can understand, that is very important. And the other part is how you have to read newspapers, because in economics, newspapers also plays a very important role. Some of the terms, some of the key terms, they directly ask from the newspapers. So for that, I don't say that you need not to study newspaper, but thoroughly at least one or two topics. Like sometimes they will say that CPI index has been changed or WPI has been changed. So at least you have to focus in that area and have a grip on those things. And then what are the tricks? Basically, tricks for economics as such, like the keywords that are being used in economics paper, it plays a very important role. If you remember, because if you see past year paper, they have asked questions on stagflation, inflation, money markets, like same question but tweaking the things. If we increase the money supply, then what will happen? And again, in the next year, they may ask if we decrease the money supply, what will happen? So my point is, if you have a concept clarity, at least if 10 questions they are asking, 5 questions you will be able to do and very easily. But if you don't have concept clarity, then it is going to be like you will be your mind will be dicey and you will not able to attend with the firm mind. Like same Sridhar was saying that at least you have to attend 80 to 85% to get qualified into prelims, because that was my personal experience. I gave 2 prelims. First I was not able to qualify, and in that I have attended only, if I remember correctly, around 70-75%. Second time I attempted around 90 questions. So somewhere in the middle, like Sridhar was saying, 65 to 70 questions. If you are attempting it right, then definitely you are going to qualify that. And then other things, sometimes what happens, not very direct questions are coming from the economics. If you say, like sometimes they will link with some schemes also under this or an economic survey. Sometimes they put some key terms on the economic survey and they will ask. For that, you need not to study the complete economic survey, but at least you should have some idea, like just you can read for prelims, so that you will have a basic idea and basic understanding what in what are the basic or main things has been talked about. Yeah, you want to say something, Dimple?
Yeah, there's a question that is being asked when you're talking about economic survey. The question that is being asked is, how should we approach economic survey with respect to prelims? As in, what strategy? What should we read, and how should we make notes or not make notes?
Yeah, definitely. I was coming to that point. Basically, you need not to make a notes, but that is what I am saying. You should have a gist of economic survey, like what are the main things has been explained. It is not like they are going to ask some minuscule data or some very important data, but key terms like how it has been explained, like if CPI has been, this bucket has been changed. So these things, like broad things, they will be asking. It's not like if they will be asking some data, or if they are asking data, sometimes by yourself only you can eliminate those things, because sometimes they will ask very absurd data. For like in my 2018 one data, they have asked regarding some scheme like 4 lakh crore has been allocated. It is not possible because the budget is only 23 lakh crore. So these things you can like understand if you start reading those things, then you will understand by yourself, okay, this is like absurd data, that is not possible at all. So these things, if they are asking data, it is not like they will ask like, okay, 22 or 23, like these kind of things they are not going to ask. They just want to check the understanding, concept clarity on that particular thing. And if the data is they are giving, then you will be able to identify those things. Okay, this is not possible at all, like these things. And then have a very like you have to have an overview of the economic survey. That is all I wanted to say, because sometimes the direct term, they will pick one term and then they will give the explanation in the 4 options. At least you should be able to attend those things.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes.
Yes. I think Satabdi, you would be dealing with geography and the environment portion.
So I was saying I'll deal with current affairs and polity.
Okay, great. Yes.
So to start off, I'll add 1 or 2 points with whatever Alok has already covered. There's one trick with regard to data that we used to apply often in the prelims paper. It is that jahan bhi we encounter any data point, if we are not aware of that data, most likely it is going to be wrong option and we eliminate that option. I'm not saying it is 100% foolproof trick, but that is how we used to apply. So aspirants, you can try out and apply this trick to some previous year questions, particularly in economics, and see how that works. You encounter an option and you find any data, you can try and eliminate that option and see how you come to the right answer. If you come to the right answer in say 6 to 7 out of 10 such questions, you can apply that trick safely.
Okay.
Next point, coming to the current affairs part, the first thing I would like to say is I was very weak in prelims, and it took me 2 attempts to understand and realize that prelims is the biggest pain point for me. So in the first 2 attempts, I couldn't even clear prelims, and only in the third attempt I cleared prelims, and by God's grace also the 2 subsequent stages. So current affairs mein I struggled the most, I would say. So I actually took up this area on current affairs. तो फर्स्ट जो इशू मैं फेस कर रही थी दैट वाज विथ रिगार्ड टू न्यूज़पेपर रीडिंग. I consulted toppers and they would suggest that you can go through The Hindu or you can try out Indian Express, and I was left confused which one to read, because Hindu itself, which was slightly easier than Indian Express, but still I would spend hours, around say 2 to 3 hours completing Hindu newspaper and trying to make notes and struggle a lot. So ultimately what happened is I stuck to The Hindu, and I would make notes every day, but as prelims came closer, when it was the time to revise those notes, I couldn't revise those notes. So that was the biggest pain point. The second is with regard to note making. So toppers again suggested that you can make notes for prelims every day and then revise those notes close to the exam. But again, I couldn't. I tried to make parallel notes for prelims also and mains also. And in the first attempt, everything like crumbled down, and neither I could revise the prelims notes nor the mains notes. So that strategy did not work for me very clearly. Now this third pain point that I figured out is with regard to current affairs magazines. Now toppers, some suggested one monthly magazine, some suggested you can complement and supplement using 2 monthly magazines, and it was a tough time for me managing 2 magazines. So what I did, sometimes I would read one magazine for a month, and next month I would switch to the next magazine, and naturally I would miss out on many important topics. That did not give me any benefit, I would say. So that's how, again, one more pain point was that people suggested Yojana and Kurukshetra, and I would go and buy Yojana Kurukshetra every month, but again I couldn't find time to cover those. So that's how the first attempt had gone almost wasted in figuring out what is the right strategy for me with respect to current affairs. Next thing is, whenever I used to make notes, I would notice that I am copying almost the full paragraph onto my notes. So what is the difference between newspaper and my own notes? They would become so bulky. And मुझे लगता था I am very confident, मैंने newspaper भी पढ़ा, I have covered the monthly magazines also. But when I would sit and attempt questions on current affairs, I would not fetch good marks. The accuracy rate was about say 50% or so, and I used to be so worried that with such low rate of accuracy, how I am going to clear this exam. But later on I figured out that no, this is not the case. A 50 to 60% accuracy in current affairs is acceptable. If you are around that accuracy level, you will sail through quite easily, because naturally the accuracy level of current affairs is low, and the core subjects is high. So the current affairs part pulls down your overall accuracy in the prelims paper. So I think that's it. And yes, so how I overcame all these problem areas in my third attempt is I made a clear strategy in my mind that for prelims, I'm not going to switch between newspapers. I'll stick to only one newspaper. For me, it was Hindu. But for you all aspirants, if you feel that you can manage Indian Express, you can do so. No problem in that. Whichever newspaper suits you, you can read. But I think Hindu is more or less okay for prelims, and Indian Express is more suitable for the mains part. Now coming to monthly magazines, I would say stick to one monthly magazine for around 12 months. And close to the prelims exam, you can avoid reading newspaper for the last 1 month. And in my case, I referred to Vision monthly magazine for 12 months. You can have your own choice. Whatever suits you, you can continue with that. But my humble suggestion is don't switch magazines. Stick to one. Third thing is with regard to Yojana Kurukshetra, that is not necessary for prelims at all. Don't spend a lot of time over Yojana Kurukshetra for prelims. Rather, it is useful as for selective reading in mains. That too only one or two Yojana Kurukshetra, not all. The next thing is attempt as many questions as possible while you are preparing for your current affairs. You can do a daily assessment also. There are many good websites which will offer you 10 to 15 MCQ questions on current affairs on a daily basis. So you can gauge yourself, assess yourself on a day-to-day basis where you stand. And over time, your accuracy level is going to become better.
One pain point is whether how to make notes. If I make notes from the newspaper, when should I revise? That is also being asked here.
Yes. Yeah, Dimple, exactly. Same problem we also faced. So first thing I would say that for prelims, you need not make notes from the newspaper. But if you are really, inclined to making notes for prelims, what you can do is you can make very brief and concise notes. Don't make very elaborate notes. Suppose some new government initiative or scheme has been launched. Just jot down the key important things, 1, 2, 3, say what is the budgetary allocation, who is the beneficiary or the target group, and what is the objective. What happens is when we encounter any question in the UPSC paper, two objectives of say a particular scheme, you will be able to eliminate very easily. Two will be very close options, and to mark the correct answer you need to have very good clarity कि ये scheme किस लिए आया. Very with a lot of clarity you should be knowing ये scheme इसलिए आया बस. और भी जैसे newspaper we come across so and so species have been found in such and such place. So only that much. Just in bullet point form you can make notes for prelims so that they are not bulky at all. And if you revise them on a weekly basis and monthly basis, every week you are revising, and also at the end of the month again you are revising, so you will not be having that burden on your mind close to your prelims. So see, hard work, there is no alternative. You need to keep revising and re-revising, and every subsequent time you revise, the time will get shortened full.
There's one more question, that should we make notes from the paper for mains? As in for prelims, very brief notes have to be made. What about for mains? Should we make notes from the newspaper for mains?
Yes, Dimple. Very relevant question actually. For mains, I suggest you to make notes and that too in a very focused way. Don't note down everything. In my first attempt, I used to note down almost everything and my notes would be very bulky. Don't do that. Just note down 4 to 5 important things. What are the keywords? What are the examples, the case studies and data points? And how you will note down. Suppose you are reading a newspaper and you are reading an editorial, say. So first thing that you should question yourself is, this particular article relates to which GS paper? Say GS paper 2. Now you ask second question to yourself, which syllabus topic this article is related to? Say it is related to e-governance. So go to that syllabus point and make your digital notes. Note down the keywords, examples, case studies, data points, K, E, D, and C. So note down these 4 to 5 things. under that syllabus pointer e-governance. So that's how over a period of say 2 to 3 months, you will figure out that you have very good and value added notes of every syllabus pointer of for all the 4gs, for all the papers.
What would be the time that, if we have to go for this, that reading the newspaper, thinking which part of the syllabus it would be, what would be the apt time that one should take while, a person is involved in this in the daily work?
I think it will take not less than 3 hours, Dimple, but it's an exercise that is worth taking. Because see, all the articles of any newspaper, be it the Hindu or be it Indian Express, are not going to be relevant for your preparation. There are a lot of articles on cities or political news or many other news. Those are not relevant. So, padte, there will be a time, say, first 1 week or 10 days, I'm sure all of us will struggle. But after 10 to 15 days, we'll figure out. Dekhte hi, it will strike us that this article is relevant for our preparation. So around 3 hours time is what I suggest.
One point that actually we missed out was the KEDC. When you say key points, can you please just repeat
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. While making notes for mains, don't jot down each and everything. Just have a focused approach. Your eyes should be searching for 4 things: keywords, examples, data points, and case studies.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yes, Sridhar sir, what about the science and technology? One more question that is being repeatedly asked is, how do we go for elimination technique? As in, how do we eliminate things? Because many questions are like bouncer questions. So how do we go for eliminating them?
Right. Yeah,
Yes.
please. Yeah.
No, you talk, then I will continue.
So I can see in the chat box, most of the questions are related to how you have to eliminate things. First of all, nowadays, lot of these videos are available how to eliminate the things. And then, so like some extreme words are used in the paper, like this not or never kind of words. So for these, you have to be very particular. In the case of extreme words, most of the time it is not true. And for like science and tech and environment questions, like because to find anything which is not happening is very tough, and to find anything which is happening is very easy. So in science and technology, and what I used to do, I am telling, in science and technology environment, most of the questions, if they are it is happening or this is that, so they are true most of the time. All the parts in the question will be true, because to find anything whether with respect to science and technology, if that particular technology is doing this, it is perfectly fine, because we know that. But that particular technology, whether the impact of that technology or how it is, whether that technology is doing something or not, to find it is very tough. So in the case of negation, most of the time it is not true. And science and technology and environment, I can say that most of the time the question that the sentence they are putting, it is going to be true. But it is not like always it will be there, but 80 and 90% time you are going to attempt it in the right manner. And in polity and other core subject, I used to call polity, economics, geography, modern history, and environment. These are core subjects for me. I used to study like focus in a manner so that at least if 50 or 60 questions are asked from that particular 5 core subjects, one for all the candidates, one should be able to attempt at least 85 to 90% questions from that 5 core subject correctly. Because as earlier Satabdi was mentioning, in current affairs, it is very tough to attempt 60%, more than 60% questions correctly. So you have to focus on these 5 core subjects. Polity, like if you are studying it in the proper manner from Lakshmikant, I'm sure you will be able to attend at least if 10 questions are asked, at least 8 to 9 questions. So that is, and then extreme things in the polity or in the economics also, that most of the time it is going to be wrong. Over to Sridhar. If you want to tell anything, you can add.
Thank you, Alokji. First of all, Dimple ma'am, should I continue?
Yes, please, sir. Thank you.
So I think there was some parts I couldn't cover previously about history. Okay, I covered only art and culture. If we come for ancient India, and particularly there are so many kingdoms, so many things are happening. There are many kinds of administration. Administration is changing. So make a 1 or 2 pages notes about all the changes happening in the administration. कि गुप्ता में क्या हुआ, then particularly Maurya, then Gupta, then Pallavas में साउथ में क्या चल रहा था. So you should have one chart so you can relate all the things. So अभी क्या होता है, generally we read Maurya, then जब तक हम Gupta तक आ जाते हैं, then we forget or get confused between two kingdoms कि exactly what is happening, and generally try to point out कि what are the key areas or what are the developments happening during that regime of that particular king, or what are the changes. जैसे if you talk about Akbar brought about changes in the land measurement, and then zamindari system was introduced in some Mughal dynasties. So just look up for that areas, and particularly if you talk about Indus Valley civilization, make a chart ki which site is located on which river. So it will be handy during your revision time, because you may not be able to revise entire book, and that will be very fairy at that before the prelims examination. You cannot pick up the entire book. And if you talk about medieval India, and right now the focus is shifting from Mughals. Previously, it was majorly on Mughals to other dynasties, local kingdoms like Vijayanagar is one point. Last year they asked about Palas of Bengals, and maybe in recent year Rajputs or other kingdoms of North or South India. So here you also check what are the neighbors of that kingdom, how the Indo-Islamic influence is happening. So just be curious and just be observant while you are studying. So it will be able to solve the questions you will get, which you feel that, okay, I haven't read about these things. And about modern India, particularly, there are so many legislative reforms happen. Also make a 1 or 2 pages notes on a single page. What are the key changes happened during Regulating Act and Government of India Act of 1891, 1909, 1999, 1935, and after 1940 it becomes so clumsy कि क्या हो रहा है कुछ समझ में नहीं आता, because first they come August Offer, then Cripps Mission, then Cabinet Mission, and in between them they are Desai-Liaquat Pact. Just jot down the points which you are able to forget, so you will be able to revise this point before your prelims examination. I will do one thing, and I will share some, as Alok ji has already informed about how to eliminate the things. So I will share last year some questions, how to go closer to the answer with limited knowledge. But that limited knowledge should be very firm. You should be very 100% sure कि ये मुझे आता ही है और इसके ऊपर I am going to attempt this question. So there are some last year questions. Yeah. So I was talking about Indus Valley civilization, how you should make your notes. Just write down what is the northeast point of Indus Valley civilization, east, west, south, and similarly river important features. This is the very simple question. Gandhiji Marks, I will not talk about this. So see, I think all are able to see the question. With reference to the history of India, consider the following pairs. Then Aurang is talking about in charge of treasury and state, Baniyan and then Mirazda. I am 100% sure that Baniya is Indian agent of the East India Company, but I am not sure about Aurang or Mirazda. So I am just coming to option point 2 is in option 1, A, B, and D also. But I haven't heard about Aurang regarding to with regard to treasury of state. So I will eliminate this A. If I remove this point 1, then 1 only B remains. So that B will be your answer. I will also take another one question. Kundi is a very simple one. So see here, it is a very wild guess and a silly guess. So I was talking about with reference to the book Deshar Katha, written by Sakharam Ganesh Desukar during the freedom struggle. Consider the following statement. Here you are taking a wild guess, but still there are chances that your wild guess may be correct. So it warned against the colonial state of hypnotic conquest of mind. Okay, I don't know about this. I go for second point. It inspires the performance of Swadeshi's street plays and folk song. Okay, I don't know about this. The use of Desh by Deuskar was in specific context of the region Bengal. Here, there's a clip. If this book is, if this is about freedom struggle, he will not talk about Bengal only. he will talk about entire India, and if they are specifically mentioning about Bengal, then there's a trick. You can eliminate this option. Point number 3. Other point number, if you remove this point number 3 from your options 1, B, C, D, then only answer will be A. So in that way, this will be a silly guess. Okay, and then here will be intelligent guess. This the Vittal Vidhansab, the first monthly journal to have untouchable people as its target audience, was published by. Okay, I am aware about the books written by Jyotiba Phule because I have studied very well. It is Gulami and along with Satyashodak and some other. I am also aware about the book written by Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. I am also aware about the books written by Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar. The only option remains is Gopal Baba Walankar, and that option will be A. So in this way, you have to eliminate your options. And here, if we talk about ancient India, with reference to the scholars' literatures of the ancient India, consider the following statement. Panini is associated with the Pushyamitra Singha. I am confused about this. Amar Singha is associated with the Harshvardhana. If I know कि Bana Bhatta has written Harish Charitra, and I'm so confident about that, I can easily remove this option, point number 2, and then I will come to us options. अगर दो कहाँ पे नहीं है, दो यहाँ पे है, दो यहाँ पे है, दो यहाँ पे भी है, मतलब it's also option C will be your correct answer. So this is about history. Now we will talk about little bit about science. As already Alok ji has told ki how you have to go for science and tech answers. For science and tech, you don't have to read the basic book. Nowadays, they are not asking formulas of alum and such kind of things. So it's okay if you study current affairs only, but current affairs you should be aware to what is happening. So usme newspaper mein bhi there are news articles about science, and I think Indian Express, they have entire page for science and tech. So you can refer that. Then it is better to go and visit government sites, particularly Ministry of Earth and Sciences, Ministry of Science and Tech, and also you can visit NASA site, ISRO site. So there are many times there are direct questions from these sites. And it's also better for economy also if you visit IMF, WTO sites. So this is the science and tech question. With the present state of development, artificial intelligence can effectively do which of the following? So all, just as Alok ji has said, ki generally all these things are happening. So your answer will be D. This may bring down, yes, it is because we are using this thing smart city, create meaningful short stories and song. It was in news. Disease diagnosis, we are already doing it. And during COVID time, it was also in news. Text to speech, already we are doing it in mobile. Wireless transmission, it is also happening. So answer will be D. Similarly, blockchain technology. यहाँ पे भी answer options are a little bit confusing, but you can easily eliminate this. It is a public ledger that everyone can inspect. Yes, that is why everyone government is promoting it. The structure and design of blockchain is such that all the data in it are about cryptocurrency only. Blockchain is not related to cryptocurrency only. Cryptocurrency is a part of blockchain technology. So this statement is wrong. तो अगर दो कहाँ पे wrong है? Option B में there is a 2, option C में 2, then D में 2. Then only one statement, the statement 1 will be correct. Then answer A easily आ जाएगा. So the people who don't have any technical backgrounds like commerce and or the people from BA background, they have a fear of this science and tech, and the people from engineering background, they fear biology, and the people from biology fear technological part. So if again this question is similar line, carbon nanotubes, yes, they are using in all simple. So option again answer will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Then similarly, here is also the same things happening. Spraying, consider the following activities: spraying pesticide on crop field, inspecting the craters of active volcanoes, collecting breath sample from spouting walls for DNA analysis. At present level of technology, which of the above activities can be successfully carried out of using drones? Aajkal everything is happening through drones. So you can easily mark option D, considering all three are correct. So now consider come to the question number 49. वहाँ पे it is talking about visible light communication technology. यहाँ पे you may not have that much cannot apply intelligent guess because it's very technical, because they have mentioned wavelength 375 to 780 nm. So these kind of questions you can skip, because you can always skip 2 or 3 questions. So here there's no need to have intelligent guess, because otherwise you will do more wrong than making correct answers. So यहाँ पे भी similarly this on similar lines as we have discussed, कि genetic changes can be introduced in the cells that produce eggs or sperms of the prospective parents. ठीक है. Person, this was in news about because one Chinese scientist has done something about genome technology. A person's genome can be edited before birth at an early embryonic stage. This can be done. Human-induced pluripotent stem cells can be injected into an embryo of pig. This can be done. So answer will be 1, 2, 3. So as Alok ji has mentioned, कि for science and tech, this type of question you have to take intelligent guess. So you can go closer to your answer. I think this is about science and technology. And resources, you just keep track of current affairs. Don't bother about too much basics, ki what is the formula of alum. And still, if you want to go for that, you can just pick up that Lucent wala book, where these things can be summarized in a very few pages. So that is for science and tech and history. Yes, Dimple ma'am.
There are a few questions. One question is about, please ask about Jainism and Buddhism and the philosophy school. As in every year you will see a new term which is related to Buddhism and Jainism. How do we deal with such questions?
I am very weak at art and culture, so I used to just mug up things and then whatever I'm able to remember. Basically, these are very important. Like philosophies become very important, plays very important role. At least 1 or 2 questions will be asked. But everything you can't study, like everything about Jainism and Buddhism you can't study. So at least you should have basic knowledge about Jainism and Buddhism. If you are able to attend that question, that is perfectly fine. Otherwise, the same thing that Sridhar has told, like if that is not you are not able to attend that means 90 to 95% will not be able to attend those questions, and it will count as a tough question. So your fight will be at least to get attend 65 to 70 questions. So sometimes you need not to for one question. If you are studying 100 pages, I think that the cost benefit is very less. But yes, I totally agree. At least you should have a basic idea what Jainism is, what Buddhism is, what is the basic philosophy, how they live, and what is different their types like Swetambar, Pitambar, and all those things. So basic idea you should have.
Yes, sir. I just want to add one thing here. So don't worry about ki you have to cover each and everything. Just study basic things, and after that you have to do your intelligent guess. And even as Alokji said, if you are not able to solve it, nobody will be able to solve it if you are a serious candidate. So don't worry about this. The only thing you can do, just keep practicing the many MCQs as much as possible. Through MCQs, you will keep on increasing your knowledge. But don't bother ki Jainism ke liye, you will read 100 pages. Don't do that. Okay, from basic books, that is sufficient.
One question that is that there is so much vast syllabus. People will tend to forget after 2 or 3 days whatever they have read. So how do they remember everything or whatever they have studied? What is the one strategy so that they can remember things easily?
So as I have mentioned, you have to make charts and then tables so that you can remember these things. Generally, what happens if you read Indus Valley sites, you read on first day this site is situation on this, but after 2 or 3 days, you are definitely going to forget it. So if you have a small chart, you can revise that thing after 2 or 3 days. So after multiple revision, that thing will remain with you. Then you don't have to remember कि हड़प्पा कौन से नदी पे है. It will be definitely on Indus.
Okay. One question is last 2-3 months gearing up for prelims. Last strategy for 2.5 months.
Dimple, I would add a point or two to the question that you just asked, that we tend to forget almost everything in a span of 2 to 3 days or maybe weeks. The strategy is different in different subjects. For example, say you are studying art and culture. or say ancient and medieval history, वहाँ पे pictorial memory can help a lot. आप पढ़ रहे हो साथ साथ में you can refer to some YouTube videos or maybe some photos. You can just Google and search that photo, that will be registered in your memory for a longer time. And one more thing that you can do is, some of my friends actually used to do that. They used to go out to places and visit architectural sites and all. It helps a lot in remembering things for a longer time. So that is about art and culture. There are strategies like Sridhar said, like making small charts and all. One more thing that is in general you can use for any subject, specifically in prelims, is peer group discussions. So suppose you have a peer group of 3 to 4 members and one of them is really strong in say polity or say economy. So you can ask that person to shoot questions on a daily basis. At the end of the day, when you feel exhausted, have a time, say 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. and you three of you will discuss, and one of them will shoot everyday important questions and toughest of questions to you, and that way you will keep improving your knowledge. So I think these 2 to 3 techniques will help you to retain things for a longer time.
Basically,
Next, I think you asked one more question to me.
Yes.
Last 2.5 months का strategy, right? So last 2.5 months सबसे ज़्यादा critical है. In fact, if you feel that prelims is not one of your strong areas, you can even extend that 2.5 months to say 3 months or even 4 months if required, which I myself did in my last attempt. I had devoted around 5 months. Honestly, for my prelims preparation itself. So be it 2.5 months or 3 to 4 months, whatever it is, you start off, you dedicate 1 full month to complete the 5 core subjects, the current affairs, and take tests. So how are you going to cover the core subjects? Divide that 1 month into 20 days plus 10 days. In 20 days, you have a target in mind that you are going to complete the 5 core subjects in a span of 20 days. What are the core subjects? History, polity, geography, environment, economy. Have a very good grip over these 5 subjects, because उसमें आप गलती नहीं कर पाओगे. The tolerance level is very, very low. You can make only 10% mistakes. Say 50 questions come from these 5 core subjects every year, and you should not be making more than 5 mistakes. If you make more than 5 mistakes, you are reducing your chances of crossing the preliminary stage. So that's about the core part. The next part is the 10 days that you are left with. You prepare your current affairs of last 12 months. Have a very thorough revision. If time permits, revise it 2 times. If not, revise it 1 time, the 12 monthly magazines in 10 days. And in that same 1 month, make sure that you are taking a test every single day. So 30 months का breakup ये हो गया. तो first month you do this activity, core subjects plus current affairs plus tests. Every day आप एक test लेते हो, तो that sums up to 30 tests in that 1 month. Repeat that same exercise in the month 2, and in the month 3 or say half month that you are left with, your cycle time will reduce because you have revised the core very thoroughly, your current affairs very thoroughly. So you are going to make your last revision of the core plus current plus tests in 15 days time. So that is how I used to revise before the exam.
did you also make the notes? Like if you take a test every day, 30 days, you would have analyzed it, made the notes, taken something in register for your revision. Is this something that you did on a daily basis?
If you are attempting 30 questions, 30 tests, so what you should do is those questions which you are not able to attempt right, you should write it at least in a paper or so that next time you should revise those things, so that next time you are attempting similar question, you should not do the mistake again. It's not like every time you need to revise the paper that you have attempted. Those questions which you are attempting it right, there is no point in revising those things. But those questions which you are not able to attempt right, if you are revising, then next time you will not do the same mistake. The other point which I want to add, like sometimes the question is being asked whether we forget things which we are revising. Like for every people there is some weak area and there is some strong area. So like if polity is my strong area, so if I am studying something in polity, it is but natural that I will remember those things in a longer manner. But like if art and culture is my weak area, so it is but natural that I will forget those things. So based on that, one should form his or her strategy. Like if I'm weak at any particular subject like art and culture or environment, so those are these I can make notes on those particular subjects and revise it frequently, like once in a week or twice in a month. And then the area which are strong you can revise, or you can like extend it to the maximum time, so that in the end, you if you are revising once or twice, that will perfectly fine. So it's not like same strategy is going to work for everyone. It is different, and based on that, like Sridhar was also talking about making notes and pie charts. Nowadays, like for those students, it is very easy. Lot of things are available on internet. Like I will be talking about geography and environment. In that, in my time also, I did the same thing. Like to remember the river and its tributaries. If you are remembering in a crude manner, it is very tough. But like most of the tricks are available on internet. You can remember with some jargons or some like so lot of things are available. So this way you will be able to identify, and you will be able to remember the things. So based on everyone's strength and weaknesses, what I personally feel that he or she should strategize in 2.5 months how he or she had to progress. Because for some people, current affairs become very tough. They are not able to remember anything that they are studying, because that time the stress will be very much. So these are the things, like you have to identify what is your weak areas, and then accordingly you have to divide the time. And then if you're doing like that, definitely you will yourself see the progress that you are doing. And now while attending the questions also, and the other thing like test, I personally feel that if you are attempting any test series, you should attend in the time bound manner, in the classroom manner. Because what happens if you are going to in UPSC this test, you will, if you are attempting it at home, you will be very relaxed. That time the environment changes suddenly, and then you will some student panic, okay, what is happening. Sometimes they are not able to cope up with the situation, because sometimes it may happen that in the room that you are sitting, there is no fan. So if you are in your comfort zone, and then if you are going to UPSC, it becomes entirely different. So that is also one, there is this situation. I think one should be aware of that thing. That becomes very important role, because you have to keep your mind calm, because prelims is all about 2 hours. If you are able to do the justice, and if you are able to attend the question in a proper manner with a peace of mind, you are going to crack it. That is what I wanted to say in general. As far as okay, you want to say something, Dimple?
I thought you were parting, so I was going to appreciate. Yes, please continue.
So that is what, and like most of the time, what that like question answering mock tests are very important. Because like if we are talking about any subject, polity or geography, sometimes we study something, we think that that is done. But the mock test, if we are attempting those tests, then we identify, okay, these things we haven't studied properly. So the mistakes keep on encountering, we keep on correcting those things. So for me, it helped a lot to like giving mock test and then identifying my mistake, what are my weak areas. Slowly, if you're doing these things, you will get to know, okay, these are the areas where I need to focus. And if I'm studying those particular topics, I need to be more attentive. That becomes very important.
I want to add one thing in Alokji's comment. And don't wait that you will revise the things and then you will attempt the mock test. Start from today itself, because you will in UPSC examination, Alok, because you will not be able to revise all the things which are already read in past 1 year. So ultimately you have to remember or you have to give too much stress on your brain on that day also. So don't wait ki I will revise and then I will attempt the mock. Don't do it. Just start from today itself, whatever. and have a target of 5,000 question, 30 tests you do from any coaching classes, have another pattern of questions, because many times what happens, there are set patterns of questions available in the market. So at least have 2 patterns of questions, so you will not be get acquainted with one pattern. Otherwise, what happens generally, if easy questions comes in the UPSC, you will not able to solve it, because you always feel that some trick is that UPSC want my answer wrong. No, UPSC will not do with that all the questions. There will be some easy questions also, and there will be for that you have to just apply your simple mind. So just don't be because mock ka yahi ek, there's a one tendency that they want to make you answer wrong, but UPSC do not do that. Okay, so that is my one addition. Yes, ma'am.
Any parting messages from all of you?
And there's a one question from student.
Yes.
He or she is asking, is everything important in Lakshmikant and Spectra? So Shatabdi, you can answer this.
What is the question?
Is everything important in Lakshmikant and Spectra?
See, with regard to polity, I struggled a lot. When I started reading the book called Lakshmikant, it seemed so huge and vast to me, and every single line used to be important. So while reading, I would grasp almost all of it, 70-80% of it. But the moment I closed the book and someone would ask me a question, I would be all confused. What is the right answer? So, and in the first attempt, I even tried to make notes out of the polity book, which was again not so good strategy, I think, because every single line in polity book is important. And so is the case with spectrum mein tab bhi you will find lines and paragraphs which are not so important. You can omit those and mark the important years or important events taking place, important names of books, personalities, and so on. But polity, I think you need to pay attention to very, very minute details like constitutional bodies. There are statutory bodies and their terms of service, qualification, disqualification. You need to pay attention to very, very minute details. So I don't think note making is very useful in case of polity or maybe spectrum. I think that same span of time you can use more fruitfully by revising whatever you have underlined or whatever you have jotted down in that page itself. So that is how I used to handle, and no doubt in the first attempt I also tried to make notes both from Spectrum and from Lakshmikant, but while making notes I would miss out on very, very important things. So revise from the Lakshmikant and Spectrum itself.
Just one addition here. Just say the points which you are going to forget. After
the chat box, people are asking about how to revise geography and what are the important resources for geography. I want to just quickly go through that, because for geography, like NCERT becomes very important, and one should read 11th, 12th NCERT. And then in geography, like I am from engineering background, so in the beginning I found it very tough to like understand the terms like revolution and then rotation, all those things. So like concept clarity is very important in geography. And then apart from that, this reading NCERT, because sometimes like if you're reading, you think that okay, I'm able to understand, but the same thing that Shatabdi was talking, if someone asks question, we got confused because we have just read those things, and we in our mind we know okay, we have read, and but the concept clarity is not there. So in these times, what happens, like if you have some peer group or friends who are having geography optional, or who are having a good grip on those areas, you can discuss those, because these are the terms which plays a very important role, like and then other things like in geography, maps also become very important. So what I used to do, like when I'm reading geography, I used to have a like atlas with me, and then I used to look on the, okay, if I'm reading on anything, vegetation or rivers, all those, I used to look in the map. so that it is not like you have to remember those things. You can't, because a lot of things are there. You can't remember everything, but if you're looking on the if you are keep on looking those things, at least some things will be rested in your mind. So what happens, like in front of my study table also I have like kept the map of world and India, so that it's not like you have to remember everything, but like sometimes when you are okay stressed, you are looking on the map itself and just identifying the things. So it helps a lot. Like if I correctly remember, one question was asked in 2018, this prelims, regarding cities. How this, if we draw a line horizontally, or what are the cities that are very near. So these things, like I haven't studied those things in that manner, but I used to look on the map and then I suddenly it comes to my mind, no, it is like that. So in geography, maps also plays a very important role. Apart from that, reading NCERT is also important, because, and then not reading only, I am stressing on this thing multiple times. Concept clarity is very important, because those things, it's not like the same thing is going to ask, UPSC is going to ask. They will ask the same thing but in different manner. If you have a grip on those things, okay, this is that, and I know how it is there. So that becomes very important. And then some of the people, they are asking about how to revise the test series also in the chat box. Yeah, just I want to say that you need not to revise the test series. You have to revise only those questions which you have attempted it wrong, and then try it, so that next time when you are encountering those things, at least you should try not to do the same mistake again. And there is a like saying that in UPSC paper, uh, some of the questions will be very easy, like 30 to 40 questions will be very easy, and then some of the like then next 30 to 40 questions will be medium, and then as Sridhar was talking about, intelligent guess based. So if you are intelligent enough to make the guess and eliminate the options, you will be able to do that. And then 15 to 20 questions will be like bouncer questions. Those you need not to attend. You have to identify those areas. Okay, जैसे बोलते हैं ना कि you have to, those are bouncers, you have to duck. If you are attempting those questions, there's a high chance you are attempting it wrong, and you will have a negative marking on that. So, and how it comes, it is not very natural that you will be able to identify, okay, these are the questions which I need to drop or I need not to attend. It will come while you are attempting the test series. Like one person has asked, like nowadays attempting test series and attempting UPSC paper is entirely different. I totally agree with that point, but it gives you an overview. It gives you the understanding what questions you have to attend and how the questions are being framed. Because in then when you're attempting multiple test series, you will know, okay, no, these are the, sometime you will, your intuition will say, okay, these are the bouncer questions, you need not to attend. So it's not like the test series that you are attending the same will be replicated. No, not at all. You have to keep those things in mind. But it is just a practice paper which to make your mind, to make up your mind how you are going to attend those questions and how you are going to revise those things. So it helps. But if you are replicating the same thing, it is not going to happen. And
Yes.
then other questions were related to like how to deal with this Lakshmikant and all those things. Satabdi has addressed those questions. You need not to make notes of those things, but while studying, because sometimes people say that, okay, if you are studying Lakshmikant twice and thrice, you are done. No, you are not done at all. Try to attend the sectional test, then you will able to understand, okay, these are the minute mistakes that I am doing, and you have to stick to those things. So these are these things come with the experience, or but so we have all like given at least 2 to 3 prelims. So with experience, you will know, okay, those are the areas which we have to focus, and which are the areas like cost benefit is also very important. Like earlier when we are talking about the art and culture and Jainism and Buddhism. Sometimes you have to identify also like in which paper you have to give maximum time so that you can maximize your score. For me, I want to tell you frankly that I haven't studied medieval history at all for prelims. to be very frank, because I know the cost benefit is very less. If I am devoting a lot of time in medieval history and there is only 1 or 2 questions are being asked, and that too, it is not very sure you are whether you will be attempted right or wrong. So, and that is also luck based. If that time medieval history questions come like 8, 9 questions, then I would not have qualified. But these are the intelligent guess like you can make. Okay, from medieval history, many questions are not being asked. It is sidelined. So at least you should give those time to areas like quality or environment, because forest paper is also attached to that. And it is but natural that questions from the environment and ecology is going to be asked, and the minimum number of questions will be at least 10 to 15. So if you are devoting those time in these areas, it is beneficial for the candidate to qualify. So these are the small tricks, because these things help. Because I in 2018 I qualified uh, prelims for UPSC this forest also. So these are the small things I want to tell you, because if like cost benefit becomes very important. Like if you are preparing your core subjects very thoroughly, like polity, economics, modern history, environment, and this economics. So these are 5 core subjects which I identified. They can help me, and they help me a lot, because in those areas, if I remember correctly, I only 10% margin was there, not more than that. So these are the things. If anything else, we are here to answer any questions from the students.
There's a one question: do sectional test series help? I think both test series have their own importance. Sectional test series help you to have command on subject. So I think it's two and a
I think you
half.
are mute.
No, I think, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
So sectional test series is also important because they will help you to have a command on subject. So you have 2.5 months, so you can do both the things, do sectional also and do full length also. And I just want to make one thing more clear. You don't just solve full length whenever you get time during your entire day. When you got bored or you just have your dinner, lunch or tea time, just pick up. I think right now everyone has smartphone and there are so many online coaching classes which are providing you. Educame is also providing you MCQ monthly, weekly or daily basis. So just pick up, just solve these MCQs and just move on. Just if you are making it wrong, just check what is the explanation and then you can move on. So at least have a target of solving 5,000 questions. So both test series will help you, sectional and full length. Yes, there's another one question: how to do mapping? I think Alok ji has already explained it. But along with that, there will be some videos on YouTube just before 1 or 2 months before your prelims. So you can refer that videos and just be. UPSC is about your curiousness or just your awareness about the things. So, if some event is happening like Bangkok, there are some things are happening. Taiwan, there are things are happening. So just keep on checking. Where is the Bangkok? Where is the Taiwan? What are the seas around Bangkok, Taiwan? So just keep on doing that thing, and that will be sufficient for your mapping.
Thank you, everyone. Any parting messages from you, sir and ma'am?
My message is that this is a war of 2 hours, the prelims examination of UPSC. You have to act like a warrior. There will be difficult question. You will face stress, like some schools may not have fan, temperature will be so high. And so just you have to go with that winning spirit कि मुझे करना ही है कुछ भी होके. Just I am just elaborating one situation. I think 2019 or 18 that paper was so lengthy. There was one question I am just still remembering. That question was about IoT, and the whole very lengthy paragraph was given by UPSC. And just I read कि चलो हाँ इतना है, but I got the idea कि चलो. But I had that idea कि मुझे करना है paper. That I have to complete all the questions. So go with that mind. Never feel that okay, you are not going to attempt your paper difficult, paper tough. Don't have any kind of discussion even after your completion of your first paper, because CSAT is also becoming difficult nowadays. So give sufficient time. Just take a little bit rest in that 1.5 hours, and then give CSAT. After that, you have 2 or 3 days to discuss. If you then you can criticize the coaching classes, answer keys, so you can do entire thing. So that is from my side. All the best for all the aspirants and attendees.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Dimple, one girl is asking one small question, that how to manage marriage pressure during preparation. I'll answer this question. So I don't remember the name of the person who has asked this question, but yes, I think you will have to stand up for your own self. There will be no one else to talk on your behalf. तो बी वेरी फर्म. अगर आपने ये ड्रीम चूज किया है, ये एस्पिरेशन रखा है, तो हैव दैट करेज टू टॉक फॉर योर ओन सेल्फ. टेल योर पेरेंट्स एंड फैमिली मेम्बर्स वेरी फर्मली कि मुझे 2 साल 3 साल का टाइम आप लोग दे दीजिए. टिल दैट टाइम डोंट डिस्टर्ब मी, डोंट टॉक अबाउट मैरिज. Let me make this honest confession. I am 32 and I got married only recently after I cleared this exam. So you can cite examples. There are many such examples available. So see, you are going to become a civil servant. Your aspirations are not low; they are very very high. So be assertive. चाहे वो आपके family members के साथ ही क्यों ना हो.
Yes, that is very true. I just want to add one thing. Shatabdi got married. I'm still bachelor. So you have to stand and you have to, as Shatabdi told, ki if you are determined with your aim and aspirations, your family will definitely support you. So don't just be firm कि करना ही है, and just show your efforts. कि then there will be definitely support from your family, and family support is most important. Friend तो रहते ही है, but that is the most important. Yes.
Yes, coming to the parting message, hard work has no alternative. We all started off like you, be it Sridhar, be it Alok. Sridhar has given 6 long attempts. Alok was a bit lucky in this regard. He cleared off in the second attempt itself. But yes, on a serious note, we all started off like you, very confused, struggling very hard with newspapers and the vast syllabus. How to manage prelims and mains parallelly, simultaneously, all of that bothered us. We also spent sleepless nights, anxiety and all of that. But you need to hold on, persevere every single day, be consistent, and trust me, hard work will never, 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 ever go unrewarded. Have that faith and do well. All the very best to you all.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, sir.
A lot of things have been spoken, but main message I want to give is that you have to be very consistent. That already Sridhar and Shatabdi has told, and there is no alternative to hard work. And for prelims, one thing I would like to say that don't take CSAT lightly, because sometimes in past 2 years I have seen that most of the people, they are qualifying GS paper 1, but they are not able to qualify GS paper 2 CSAT, because nowadays CSAT paper has also been made tricky, and it's a bit tough, to be very precise. So don't take it lightly. And as Sridhar has told, that if you are prepared very well and if you are finding the paper tough, then believe me, the 95 or 96% people are finding it tough. And it's not like if you have attempted less question or you have attempted 80-85 question, you are not going to qualify. Definitely it is tough for everyone. It is not like it is tough for you only. So you have to have that kind of faith in your mind, and you have that kind of confidence. If I am finding it tough or it is difficult for me, then believe me, it is difficult for everyone else. The same thing happened because in 2018 paper was some like it is not very tough, but some like unusual pattern was there in 2018 as well as 19. So I also thought, okay, no, it is very tough, whether it is happening with me only or not. But in hindsight now I can say that no, it is tough for everyone, and that is the reason I qualified for the forest also. So don't panic in that 2 hours. It is very important, as Sridhar mentioned very clearly, that if you are panicking in that 2 hours, you are losing the battle basically. So keep your mind calm and then attempt those questions at least which you are very sure. Like I have told before also, there will be questions, at least 40 questions in the paper, which is very easy, and definitely you are going to attempt it right. Focus on those questions first iteration, then slowly you will adapt. okay, then the next iteration when you will do na, you will yourself understand, okay, this I think this is the answer and this is how. But what happens that in some sets, like the tough questions are the very first questions, few questions are very tough questions. So it happens, like I've seen candidates in the first 10 questions they start panicking. No, nothing is coming, and whether I have read those things or not. So don't, if you are encountering those things, believe me, the next 10 questions will be easy, because that is how it is being made. They want to play with your mind. Don't allow them to play with your mind. That is the main thing I want to say that. And then after this attempting the question, at least in last 2 hours, this in after GS paper, don't discuss, focus on CSAT, because CSAT also becomes very important, and that is qualifying. And I've seen, in fact, few of my friends, they were able to qualify GS paper 1, but because of GS paper 2 CSAT, they were not able to qualify prelims. So after that, you can discuss all the things, and you will feel that, okay, you have done your job, and then anything if you want to do. So in the end, there is no substitute to hard work, and make your plan. One quote I keep on saying, that if you fail to follow your plan, then plan to follow your failure. So you have to make your plan and then execute those plans accordingly. And all the best to everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
all
you.
of you. A very nice session. Have a good evening. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dimple.
Thank you, ma'am.